You're watching Let's Talk Tobago.
Hello, and we are back for yet another episode of Let's Talk Tobago. This week we are coming to you from the best, yes, I said the best village in Tobago, Black Rock. It is my hometown and it is home to this beautiful fort, Fort Bennett. So at this time we're going to check out the lineup of stories for this week. I'm Davia Chambers and our program starts right now. So what do we have to share with you? Well, we tell you about the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023. We take you to Tema's 25th anniversary celebrations, and we'll tell you who won Tadco's Men Can Cook competition. Let's Talk Tobago. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
When the quarantine thing done and everybody touch road.
A brown skin. Girl, I wanna wrap you up. Lift up your head and hold it up high.
Get your sporting gear ready because a major sporting event is coming to Trinidad and Tobago. And yes, Tobago will be a part of the action. The Commonwealth Youth Games will be hosted in this country from August 4th to 11th. And a local organizing committee came across to the island to tell us what we can expect.
Final preparations are moving at pace to host the 2023 Commonwealth Youth Games events in Tobago. The games run from August 4th to 11th. The Tobago House of Assembly has established a task force to assist the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee in organizing the event.
All of the first responding agencies and a number of volunteers, experienced and otherwise, who would lead the multiple teams that we have to put in place. You would imagine we'd have a medical team, transportation, hospitality, ceremonies, and the like, for the 4 disciplines and the closing ceremony of the entire games that will take place in Tobago.
Facilities are being prepped at 4 venues to host specific disciplines.
Black Rock for the construction of a beach sports venue, that will actually, post games, be able to handle a number of beach sports. The Shore Park football field where rugby will take place, the Shore Park Cultural Complex where netball will take place, and the beach and environs of Buku where the triathlon will take place.
Heightened security will be observed during the games, taglined Trinbago 2023.
We're really excited for the games in terms of participation in Tobago, because this allows showcasing what Tobago has to offer, not only in terms of venues, but leaving a legacy where Black Rock is concerned.
We certainly want to make sure that we follow all the rules and see the successful execution of the games, all the attendant matters. We are going to do everything in our power to make sure that those things are in place.
More than 1,000 athletes from 72 countries have registered so far for the games. Recruitment of volunteers continues, with several events to be staged right here in Tobago. Visit commonwealthsports.com for more details. I'm Ryan McCool for Let's Talk Tobago.
You know, we really can't stop a natural disaster, but our first approach is usually to minimize the impact. Omidara Mills is going to tell us now about some new flood early warning systems that have been installed.
Worrying scenes of last year's flooding in Scarborough and environs. This year, the Tobago Emergency Management Agency, Tema, is staying a step ahead with 2 new community flood early warning systems at Bacalet River and Crooks River. They were funded by the European Union for humanitarian aid and implemented by the United Nations Development Programme.
These two stream gorges were part of a two-year project started in 2021, which forms an important part of UNDP's sixth offer, Small Island Development States, which aims to build resilient development pathways in areas such as climate action, blue economy, and digitization.
This action responds to the priority of DG ECHO to strengthen national capacities to forecast man-made and natural hazards by investing on early warning systems and preparedness. The scope is to provide to communities and government with earlier and more accurate information, so to allow the implementation of faster and earlier anticipatory action protocols before a disaster strikes.
It will give us greater chance and availability to actually anticipate, prepare, and respond more effectively, especially in Scarborough, which, for those who remember, when it came the last time when you're watching by Crooks River where water cleared the banks, the port had to shut down operations, vehicles stuck, businesses, Scotiabank, all of them, some relocated, some could not start back up their business. So what we have to do now that we have this piece of equipment, not only maintain it properly, but also use it to the max.
With these two systems, we will be able to improve on the timeliness of our response. This will certainly have an impact on schools, on traffic management, on communities and people being able to safeguard assets and homes.
The flood early warning systems will support data collection so that emergency responders can better assess the need for evacuation. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Now, this fort was established by the Dutch between 1628 and 1636, a pretty long time ago, right? Obviously. But what was also established a long time ago is the Tobago Emergency Management Agency, or Tema. Tema recently celebrated its 25th anniversary. So at this time, Ryan McCool will tell us exactly how the department celebrated.
Today we gather to honor and recognize the hard work, dedication, and unwavering commitment of the men and women who have been instrumental in shaping this organization into what it is today. Over the past 25 years, it would have been grown from strength to strength, coordinating the essential services to the people of Tobago.
I just want to recognize some of the agencies, who have been with us over the years. I call them very, very important and strong affiliates. Tema is just not what came out of the Executive Council that established the body of people that are now working. Tema goes beyond that. It speaks to the partners. It's like a confluence of two great streams that influence what disaster management looks like in Tobago, the disaster management systems that fits into the National Disaster Mechanism.
As we celebrate the silver anniversary of this Diamond Standard Award-winning agency, we encourage the administration to see Tema not just as a department of the OCS, but as an institution that is of the result of over 60 years of effort that brings you to what you see here today.
Tema in times of pandemic has played a pivotal role in our response to those pandemic. And Tema continue to respond 365 days of the year, 24 hours of the day. My congratulations to the Tema family on making it to a quarter of a century. This is indeed an admirable feat, and I am confident that the best of Tema is yet to come.
There's an interesting story in the Bible of when the disciples faced the storm at sea. It was at 25 furlongs that they spotted Jesus coming to their rescue on the water to assure them that they will be safe. When he said to them, "Be not afraid." 25. All of you hard-working staff, I want, on behalf of the island of Tobago, to say thank you. Thank you for your service.
We have to take a break right now, but after these messages, we return with more stories. Let's Talk Tobago. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
When the quarantine thing done and everybody touch road.
A brown skin. Girl, I wanna wrap you and lift up your head and hold it up high.
If you're looking to reset and relax, then Fort Bennett is a great location. So now I'm going to tell you about a Men Can Cook competition, and we all know Tobago men can cook. Well, 30 talents took part in the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, or TADCO, Men Can Cook competition. Let's see who is really the best of the best.
We had used the calabash and plated our soup with callaloo soup. The calabash also helps to infuse other flavors so that the dish was really excellent. For the upscale dish, we did a cassava au gratin that was plated in a nice ramekin. Also, we did a very beautiful, lovely rainbow vegetables, and we had also grilled chicken with fish that was wrapped with banana leaf and seasoned really nicely and put in the oven to bake off.
30 men donned their aprons to vie for the TADCO Men Can Cook title, but it was the engine room who earned the top spot with 294 points. Team Settlements was second with 255 points and a special prize for the most hygienic team, while Sweethand Crew Glen Road finished third with 253 points. It was a day of good vibes and light-hearted fun, which brought out supporters, families and visitors to the Shore Park Food Hub.
I think it's a very good initiative on the part of TADCO. I appreciate it very much because it showcases what the men can do, and I always say men can cook because my husband is the cook in our home. He's the main cook.
We need more of this in Tobago. Tobago men, we are known for cooking good food, sweet-hand food. I'm not saying the women cannot cook, them time will come. But I mean, men are normally known to cook food for harvest and big sessions and things, right? So putting this together, for me, is a very great experience for the men in Tobago.
I think it's a great initiative. I think that more of it is actually warranted on the island because men can really cook. That's the truth. My husband is a chef. I enjoy his meals. It's also a good opportunity for young boys to look into or go into the culinary field.
I am quite happy with the turnout. I'm quite happy about the amount of men that are here actually. This definitely will foster growth in terms of communities and building relationships, especially among fathers and sons and stuff like that.
The event is also intended to showcase TADCO's products and promote the Food Hub as a viable venue for vendors and patrons. Look out for more exciting cooking challenges from the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Preservation of culture is quite important, so we're going to leave Fort Bennett at this moment to head right across the street to Corland Bush Race. We're going to take you to the Williams family so you can see their Good Friday tradition.
It's a historical tradition for the Williams family of Black Rock to host a traditional breakfast on Good Friday every year. The day starts at 6 a.m. with the rising of the sun and this custom.
You see, long ago now, when fowl lay, and they could have used the egg because they never used to put egg in fridge and them thing they said the thing that sees the thing that it wouldn't rise. So that is why they say you must get a fresh egg like you the fowl lay day before yesterday, but don't put it in the fridge. And then when you're ready for use it, but make sure 6 o'clock when the sun rising, and it thing the egg, it fast as the sun coming up, that coming up too. And use the white alone of the egg. If the yellow go inside it, it would not raise. It does be very good. You're seeing your danger. If you're going to bring a wedding, you're going to bring a church, you're coming out from the church with the wedding, it will give you down to a funeral. All like that. Right? So that is why they say, many people are glad to see that. Imagine a white lady from America call me and ask me if I doing anything today.
Long time you didn't get stove, so that was the stove. You gotta get the fire, blow the fire on top. That's how they used to cook long time. You didn't get no stove and oven, so they never find a way. 3 stone they call it. Me just change it to the blocks.
It was excellent. The food was amazing. I got cocoa, and the nice thing about the tea was there was this oil film on the top, which to me was unique and it was real nice.
The Williams family continues to pass the tradition down from generation to generation to ensure that the culture is preserved. I'm Megan Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
And that's a wrap. That's how we bring this week's edition of Let's Talk Tobago to a close. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Davia Chambers. On behalf of all of us at the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, do have a safe and enjoyable week. Remember to like our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. See you next week.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Live more.
Yes, be careful.
Honey, I feel I'm going to start to cook, yes, because these children must be hungry now, right?
These plugs, oh my gosh.
Hey, who's that? Hey, come there. Come from there.
What's going on in here?
Oh God, I should have buy eggs, boy.
What would you do if this happened to you? Dial 990 in case of fire emergencies and always have a serviceable fire extinguisher ready and available at all times.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Morning viewers, it is just about 7 a.m. and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, indeed, we want to say a warm welcome to each and every one of you, those are connecting with us right here in Tobago, those of you joining us in Trinidad, the region, and the world at large. Thank you so much for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Skeet. Yes, and I'm here solo this morning. We are keep safe on the outside. All right, so viewers, as we get started this morning, it's Friday, and as you know, Ria would very nicely say, thank God it's Friday. You know, you get that sense of consciousness. It's about to start the weekend. It's about to go down. All right, whatever you do, ensure that your weekend is certainly a productive one. But more importantly, before we even get to that productive weekend, let's ensure we have a productive Friday on the outside in our various spaces and places in relation to work and any other activities that we may be involved in. Let's ensure that we have a productive Friday indeed. Much happening in the country and in Tobago. We see that the necessary responses continue in relation to the matter at hand. Some discussions happening there at the level of the Parliament in relation to the information raised by the Prime Minister in his capacity calling for the elections, and certainly the position taken by the Chief Secretary and the Tobago House of Assembly. So we're paying close attention to the happenings. And viewers, at this point, we head on over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Julian. I am Candace Jackson, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Friday, 28 April 2023. Fire officers are feeling the heat in Tobago as they struggle to operate out of substandard facilities with inadequate equipment. President of the 2nd Division Fire Services Association, Leo Ramkisoon, visited Tobago yesterday to get a first-hand look at the conditions under which officers operate. The Scarborough Fire Station is currently housed in the former Old Grange Police Station in Canby, a cramped space lacking the necessary facilities for efficient operations. Meanwhile, due to a shortage of fire tenders and equipment, officers are forced to use their own personal vehicles and whatever equipment they can muster to serve the public in times of need. Meanwhile, Condor Airlines is expected to resume direct airlift to Tobago from Germany in the winter of 2023. The Tobago Tourism Agency Limited announced that Condor will be operating a weekly flight on Tuesdays between the Frankfurt Airport and A&R Robinson International Airport, commencing on November 7, 2023 until April 9, 2024. All flights will be on the brand new Airbus 330-900 and will be available for booking from May 1st, 2023. The executive director of TTAL, Alicia Edwards, stated the resumption of this flight indicated that there is still confidence in Destination Tobago. And then into some news of crime. Tobago Assistant Commissioner of Police Collis Hazel gave the murderer of Daniel Thomas 48 hours to surrender to the police. Thomas was shot multiple times yesterday at a Signal Hill home. ACP Hazel said life would not be easy for the perpetrator if he did not turn himself in. According to the ACP, the incident was deeply troubling and called on Tobagonians to come forward with any information related to the incident. And that was your news in 90 seconds. It is back to you, Julian.
Thank you very much there, Candice. Bringing us the news. Very interesting developments, Candice. The position taken by the new ACP, Collis Hazel. And indeed, when he appeared here, I know that he gave the indication that there's a new sheriff in town.
Yes.
What do you think about the posturing and the positioning of ACP Hazel?
Well, of course, he wants to make sure that he can make an impact on crime. And, you know, it's very unfortunate that this situation happened just days after he was appointed to the position. So he wants to make sure and he wants to assure the people of Tobago that he can handle it. So, yeah, I mean, you know, he's going to do, hopefully, I mean, we're trusting that he does all that's possible to make sure that we can get some justice for this latest murder.
I'm comforted by the fact that he is on the ground, understands the community, understands the space here in Tobago. And I'm trusting that that would lead to giving him, you know, what might be additional or inside information. People may be comfortable enough to be able to make that contact with him directly, if need be, to ensure that we're really able to root out this situation in a very meaningful kind of way. So we look forward to seeing what the happenings would be.
Yes, I mean, and it's impossible for crime to be solved without information from the public. So he is right. He is right to call on Tobagoans to come forward because, you know, any little bit of information is very helpful in the police being able to solve these crimes because we need to get to the bottom of it. We want Tobago to return to the days of old when these things were foreign for us.
Yeah, and you know, in the other story you mentioned, I'm a little bit confused. The fire station situation. I was of the opinion when, I can't recall, his name isn't coming to me immediately, when he retired.
Officer David Thomas?
Yes, Officer David Thomas. The new building, you know, in terms of moving things along. What happened there, folks? What happened there?
Well, it's 95% complete. And 95% complete doesn't mean that it's complete. So there's still some work that needs to be done. And, you know, it's in the hands of the Ministry of National Security because, of course, they are the ones that are responsible for fire, police, and all of these forces here, even though it's in Tobago. So we are awaiting them because until that happens, I mean, our officers are forced to operate. I mean, we know that can't be. It's in no way a proper space for them to be operating out of. But, you know, they have no choice.
It's almost as though you force people into that mode. Oh, if Thomas was here, you know that these things...
But it goes further because we have equipment challenges. And you know, unfortunately, this is a situation throughout the country. It's not only endemic to Tobago.
Yes, so indeed, we trust that the officers charged with this responsibility and the necessary support will come from the Ministry of National Security as required. Thank you so much there, Candice, joining us in the conversation this morning as we discuss some of the issues currently happening here in Tobago and at the national level in Trinidad and Tobago. All right, viewers, at this point, we're heading on into our birthday celebrations. And this morning, we get started with the lady herself. She would have celebrated her birthday yesterday. Calypso Rose, one near and dear to our hearts, leading the way, pioneering, certainly making us proud over the years, even when she entered into the realm which would have been traditionally known to be male-dominated spaces. We want to take the opportunity to shout out, and I remember having had that opportunity a few years ago to meet her while casually going into the bank to do business, and immediately, you know, you went into that frenzy, you're getting the chance to meet her one-on-one. Wishing you a very happy birthday and God's continued blessings. We're sending a birthday shout out on screen, Nigel Williams. Wishing you a happy birthday coming from the entire Tobago Updates family. We're sending a birthday shout out to Peaches Snags. It's your birthday. Peaches, we trust that you enjoy the birthday celebrations today. My very good friend on screen, Kimmy Potts, wishing you a happy birthday and God's continued blessings. Yes, and you know, we had to pull out the ones with the outfits as well. Certainly standing out in your area, standing out within the industry. Continue to wish you the very, very best, Kimmy Potts, and God's continued blessings. And Tennille Alonso saying happy birthday to you. Tennille, my classmate out of Bishops, wishing you a happy birthday and God's continued blessings, Tennille. All right, viewers, and at this point, just to give you a little insight into our rundown for this morning. This morning, we got the conversation started with John Arnold, CEO of the Tobago Festivals Commission Limited. And we are speaking the Tobago Jazz Experience 2023. And we're looking at the breakdown this morning because this, yes, and here he is on screen with us. This conversation got started, a few days ago with the secretary. And certainly, we're looking to the breakdown this morning as we continue the conversation for the review of Jazz 2023. We'll also be chatting this morning with Sean Roberts of the Tobago Recycling Resource Initiative. And we're going to be speaking about the upcoming pop-up experience. So we're looking forward to those discussions. And we wrap this morning with Shellyan Baptiste, Vice Chairman of Jesus Rally Committee. And we are looking forward to Jesus Rally Tobago 2023. Feel like we haven't heard Jesus Rally for a while because of COVID being able to come out in person. So there might have been virtual celebrations, but we're certainly looking forward to those discussions this morning with Shellyan Baptiste as we speak Jesus Rally 2023. All right, viewers, at this point, we prepare to head on into Tobago in Focus.
Tobago is known as the Nature Island, where visitors and residents enjoy clean air, expansive watercourses, and a picture-perfect environment. The island holds the honor of having the oldest protected rainforest in the Western Hemisphere. Mandated to protect Tobago's natural resources, especially in the east and northeast, the Tobago Reforestation and Watershed Rehabilitation Program is a special-purpose, non-profit company established by the Tobago House of Assembly to plan programs and projects to ensure our pristine island maintains its reputation. Falling under the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, Secretary Natisha Charles Panton says conservation and preservation of our rainforest and watershed are of utmost importance.
The natural resources of Tobago, we have to protect the forest because it attracts rain, and that is the primary function of the Mainridge Forest Reserve, which takes up about mostly the entire island, right? So we have to continue conservation efforts towards our own existence for us to get clean air, clean water, filtered water, and to also protect the reef.
In 2023, Tobago's Mainridge Forest Reserve will achieve 247 years of protected status.
If you walk through the main forest, as a matter of fact, forget walking. If you drive through, you screw down your glass. How do you feel when you go through the reserve? There's a microclimate. You have a totally different atmosphere when you go through the main ridge.
Preserving our main ridge means preserving the health, wellness, and beauty of Tobago.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Never a dull moment here on set. And we have had the highly anticipated, started months ago. People were anticipating, when is it going to happen? Who are the stars going to be? The announcements came, the launch came. The naysayers also came as well. And then we saw the successful execution of Jazz 2023. Good morning and welcome to John Arnold, CEO, joining us here on set this morning as we continue the conversation in relation to Jazz. How are you feeling, John?
I'm good. I'm really good. I think we feel, all of us, the whole team, the whole TFCL team, feel very excited. And I think from all the ports you can think of when you look at festival metrics, we certainly feel that we have achieved those objectives we set out.
All right. So I wanted us to delve in a little bit more. Secretary would have been on earlier, speaking very broadly to the execution of each of the looking at the respective days, and from her perspective, where she was able to sit, viewing from on the outside as well as having some knowledge of the inside. Naturally, I know from where you sat, you would have the necessary details as well to even help inform that. And we want to chat a little bit more about the breakdown in relation to the festival. What would you have identified as some of the key pillars in terms of defining success of the Jazz of 2023?
Well, I think one of the things, just going back to the basic things about planning, the coordination, the evaluation at every phase, and then, of course, earlier the design. I think those would be key factors that we at the TFCL had to do in terms of creating the planning teams, all the various subcommittees that had to handle ticketing, travel, accommodation, secretariat, logistics, infrastructure, marketing, la. But I think beyond that, I think when you look at festivals, there's some key things. Yes, there's the financial, there's the attendance, festival attendance, there's the branding aspect of it, and then there are what we call the intangibles. And I think from all those various pillars there, when you look at them, I think we were able to see the impact of what the marketing did in terms of the attendance. And if it's one metric that we can look at and say, well, yes, people did travel. And we did see a lot of visitors, right? At all the shows, all 4 shows. That for me was a key signal that one, the air bridge, the assistance they give, and the sea,
Port Authority.
And the Port Authority, their assistance really helped. And patrons could have gotten their flights. Yes, it can't accommodate everybody who wanted to come, but I think we saw where the festival attendance really ramped up. On the branding side, I think there's no doubt, and some of the intangibles in terms of patron satisfaction. And we did an exit survey. We'll get that analysis soon. But I think there's no doubt from even just cursory looking at the social media that you can see that the response to patron satisfaction, despite some of the hiccups, was pretty good. Pretty good.
Tell us, give us a sense of the numbers in the context of what it appeared to be. You would have had the figures coming through the respective gates, especially for those events, that there was a requirement in terms of price and so on.
Right.
What were the numbers like in terms of the impact over the period of the festival?
Right. So in terms of the actual ticket sales, we are still waiting on some of the outlets to send in their money, so we don't have that full breakdown. What I can tell you is, again, in liaising and with some of the security people in terms of our anticipated audience. I mean, what we anticipated, we were amazed that I think in some cases we kind of ran beyond that. I think the turnout at Speyside, again, I don't have actual figures, but my own guesstimate was that I think that was anywhere in the vicinity of 5,000 to 6,000. I think Sunday we were able to see the greens, the grounds was pretty solid, and VIP was pretty solid. And we again estimated from where we sit anywhere in the region of 5 again to 6, maybe 6.5 maybe. The gospel night was a good turnout. We thought that was in the vicinity of 1,500, which again is reasonably and a fair and good turnout. And again, when we look at the quality of the shows, Julian, I think that is where we hear the patron satisfaction really comes out. Some people even told me that they feel that they got more than their money's worth, which is a good sign.
In terms of very good with regards to the feedback from those patrons. One of the other areas we want to speak to is we saw what most persons describe very satisfied in terms of the stage performances and the integration of, the continued integration, I should say, of local acts. Tell us a little bit about that effort on the part of the Festivals Commission and the Tobago House of Assembly.
Yeah, I must say that one of the key objectives of this festival, and again guided by my principals through the Executive Council and so on, was the fact that we wanted to make sure that we showcased a lot of Tobago talent. So that was a clear objective on the table, early o'clock. And what we did now was to really look at how we can take the Tobago talent, those people who are unknown to a wide set of people, of the audience, but we really had the opportunity to now place them in the shows that were going to give them that was to give them the kind of leverage and showcase that they needed. And I think we achieved that. That's one objective I think we definitely met in giving. You know, one of the things I actually heard from one reporter, my friend at Loop, and she said, you know, I have to be honest with you tonight. My headline is going to be that the Tobago acts stole the show. Especially on the international night. She actually said that to me. She said, you know, I have to be honest, everybody was great. Coffee, Boys to Men, but I thought that people like Sharon Phillips kind of stole the show, and you know, she left you with a kind of memory. And so her thing was that Tobago really shone that night. I also think that from a branding perspective, it speaks well for these Tobago acts, because now I even got word from one that they now have other gigs that other people have now approached them to take. And I think that augurs well. And that would certainly redound to more opportunities for Tobago artists, and also the opportunity to keep working very hard, and for the others to start improving the craft and hone the craft.
All right. So, John, we know that the Tobago House of Assembly would have budgeted just about $3 million for Jazz 2023. That was the approved figure?
No.
Oh, so then remind us. The approved budget for Jazz 2023.
Right. The approved budget was in the vicinity of around 12 million.
Right.
Right. So I don't know whether 3 million can do this.
Right. So what I want you to give us a sense of, are you any closer to the figures just yet in terms of what the actual spend may have been?
It based on what I've seen so far, it won't reach the 12 mil, right? It won't. And I think also that, I mean, part of the reasoning and in festival execution, of course, is that you want to recoup some of that through your gates and so on. But I think the broader picture in hosting the festival is certainly the economic spin-offs, as you know, that the whole set of stakeholders benefit superbly from hosting a festival like this. And I think this weekend, nobody can deny the fact that all the rental cars, you know, all the accommodation sector, they all benefited from what took place here this weekend. Taxis, and you know, groceries, gas stations. So I think overall we can say, without even having the test, the only research that we have on the table would be the feedback from visitors who came to it, and that we will have those collated results within a week or two.
All right, so we certainly look forward to those details.
That's something I'm sure we can share.
Right, but certainly what we know for a fact is Jazz is still not yet at the point in terms of being able to generate excesses beyond what the Tobago House of Assembly is required to put in. The question I want to put forward to you, you've been around long enough. When we make the comparison over the years, are we progressively seeing increased revenue generated? And I know this year turns out to be the major return after some time out. You know, how do you make that comparison in relation to the progress of the festival, even if we're not yet at that point of generating a surplus?
Right. I think it's, if you look at any festival in the country, funny enough to tell you, they don't make a profit, right? In terms of where the public purse is involved, there's no profit. NCC doesn't make a profit. On none of these events, it is basically to deal with the fact, just like how you're spending on other elements in the economy. So you don't see that. To make a profit, you will have to start with now saying, we need to cost those events their true cost. All right? And if you do that, then of course you will not reach some of the people you want to reach. So I think there's also a kind of responsibility of those in governance to also make the events affordable. And so I don't think you will ever get to the point. I think what you will do is to try and see how much you can recoup those expenses or even break even. And I think that is the attempt over the years. Even the days of Plymouth Jazz Festival, it was never profitable, Never. Absolutely.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So I think you have to go to those other objectives why you host the festival, right? Whether it be to create the economic spin-offs, the opportunities for branding, the opportunities for having people come to your destination, you know, those subtle ways of destination branding. Also, again, the opportunities for your own artists to have a platform to showcase and so on. And also building capacity. One of the serious areas I don't think people have realized is in the last 10 years, we now have so many suppliers of things like stages, porta-cool, porta-floor, lights, tower lights, trussing. We have many more suppliers now. If you go back 10 years ago, we didn't have so many. So even the event industry has created some good, solid suppliers and vendors in the industry. So I think all of them add to creating an industry that would only help to, again, build the capacity we need to host these kinds of festivals.
All right. We have a viewer on the live speaking to the issue of the possibility of a soca night. Any considerations in terms of future prospects? In a similar manner in which gospel night would have been introduced.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you already have, I mean, that's a great idea, but I think that has to be contextual in that during Carnival, there's a soca period. And so I think the festival itself needs to speak to some other genres. So soca has an input, but I think it's an excellent idea if you're going now to a model that shapes a reggae night, a gospel night, a soca night, a world music night, a real jazz authentic night. I don't know. I'm just saying.
We may even have to, at this point, we may have to evolve the name from Tobago Jazz Experience, a music festival, as some of the other islands, world music, as some of the other islands.
You're also seeing more jazz festivals popping up more than anything else, even Trinidad and Tobago. As a matter of fact, one person in Trinidad told me, we are actually the mother of jazz festivals as the Tobago Jazz, because everybody has spawned from us. Now you have so many jazz festivals, there are 2 more this weekend in Trinidad.
Certainly. Anything to share on the prospects before we wrap this morning? 2024, the Chief Secretary has given some indications that jazz is not necessarily going to look the same way in which it did for a number of years. One of our viewers here speaking to the need for sponsors to get on, to also get on board, because he's saying clearly no promoter does a fit without making a profit. Get sponsors to come in. Do you see that becoming an integral part of 2024?
Yeah, well, just to help the caller, we had over 9 sponsors this year, and most sponsors are given kind, not cash. So we've done pretty well on the sponsor front. And I think if the person who is a promoter knows that people who are in the public space and running a show have 1 artist tonight, 2 artists, it's not like a festival. It's not like a festival that you're implementing. You have a few acts and come for that, and you make sure that your price, right, reflects that for you to make a profit. It's kind of different in the public space.
Excellent. All right, so we've got to leave it there for this morning, but certainly getting commitments here from John Arnold. Within a week or 2, there should be the figures that will certainly be presented to the public so that we have that information as well. Thank you so much, John Arnold, for joining us here on set this morning. CEO of the Tobago Festivals Commission Limited, speaking to our Tobago Jazz Experience of 2023. All right, viewers, we prepare coming on up in the next segment. We'll be chatting with Sean Roberts of the Tobago Recycling Resource Initiative on screen there with us. And so we just want to remind you and to thank each and every one of you, those of you joining us via TV, those of you listening in on the radio who are already on the road heading on in and you're tuned in and locked on. Those of you joining us online, we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Johnny,
Call fire.
What's the number? Oh, God.
Fan emergency, good afternoon. You said the building is on fire. Are there any persons trapped? 4 persons. What is the address of the call, ma'am? Number 4, Candy Drive, Pier Road. Can I have your name, please? Miss Bihari. Thank you, Miss Bihari. I'll be dispatching an appliance. Central Control from Fire Control.
Go ahead, Fire Control. Central Control is really over.
Central Control, have a plants and crew. Respond to our residential fire. Same is at number 4, Candy Drive, Pier Road, Chabonas. 4 persons are trapped, 2 adults, 2 children. They weren't able to make contact with fire service, so she called on their behalf.
Transmission received loud and clear. Operator at Central Control, 3463, Firefighter Wiley, Central Control.
Create an evacuation plan for you and your family and practice your escape. Always ensure you have more than one way to safely exit your home. Your lives may depend on it.
Sign up, save, and win every day with Digicel Plus. You could win a tablet or a TV every single day. Just sign up for Digicel Plus and like yourself. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store to sign up now. Promotion ends May 19th and is approved by the NLCB.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on over.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. In this segment, we are chatting with Sean Roberts, Tobago Recycling Resource Initiative, and we're speaking about the pop-up experience. Because if you know Sean any at all, recycling is at his heart, it's his passion, and he goes far and wide in the Tobago space, and in fact, beyond when you hear persons giving the kind of commendations to this initiative. So we're happy here this morning to welcome you on set, Sean. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Julian. Good morning to Tobago, rest of the world. Share the life, share the life.
Ah, indeed. So as we get the conversation started this morning, Sean, we want to look at more specifically, just giving us a synopsis, how have things been progressing for the Recycling Waste and Logistics Limited?
Well, things have progressed pretty nicely. It means that we are growing from strength to strength in that as soon as the year turned over, we were able to ship out 20 tons of cardboard. And next week we are prepared to do another one. So during the rest of May will be export month, right? And because we know as part of our TRI pop-up experience, our team is ready for the road. So we will be all over Tobago. We're starting at our Tema supermarket tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we'll be a guest at Shortings Cafe in Lambo. For me, we'll be at Penny Savers in Keenan from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's the Friday before Mother's Day. And we'll be at the Castara Community Center on the 27th of May from 10 to 3 p.m. So we're going to be having a lot of engagement activities where we're going to be sharing a lot more about the recycling process. All the public will know more about what happens to your recyclables when you put it in the 40 bins, when you put it on your curbside. So we are going to be having like some fun activities with games, giveaways and stuff. So that way you're going to experience a lot of different types of activities. Yeah.
So the pop-up experience is going to be that combination of fun and so on, while informing persons about who is it open to?
Well, this is open to the general public, and I must thank the different sponsors like RT Mossad Supermarket, Penny Saver Supermarket, Shortings for extending their venue for us to start engaging with the public. So from now till the rest of right down till December, we'll be all over Tobago. So you all will be staying tuned on our media platforms, for the different pop-up experience. On what we'll be focusing on is actually the launch of the reuse. We are working on starting to wean the people of Tobago away from the single-use plastic shopping bag.
Right.
So what you're going to see is the people have a chance to win reusable or TRI branded reusable shopping bag. So that is something that we are going to be sharing with the public. Also, we're going to be, because we do vermicomposting with sargassum seaweed,
right,
we are going to be sharing that with the public, where you all will be educated on how to use composting with your home garden.
So we're seeing the bags here on screen.
Oh yes, we was at a school, the Tobago International Academy, on Wednesday. So that was a student who been following recycling, the principal. So we actually was able to share the first 2 reusable shopping bags. So we want to be able to start getting the people of Tobago to start be environmentally conscious, because I mean, shopping bag now, very soon we're going to start accepting, we are going to do a call for all the single-use plastic shopping bags, because we just establishing an arrangement to have it processed in this country. So in order to be able to shift people from that, we have to recover those and start now introducing the use of the reusable shopping bags. So
very interesting, because as you mentioned that, I don't know, I'm sure you have many people in that circumstance.
Yes.
Just like me, you have that plastic bag at home that has a million other plastic bags in it when you're ready to pull out one and to use and to use at some point. So you're saying eventually you're going to have this scenario, because it always becomes too many bags for your actual use by the time turns over. So the bag tends to get filled and you're only really using what comes to the surface, but most of those remain there. So there's going to be an initiative that will allow persons to be able to contribute those.
Well,
Is that the thinking?
In fact, just on the spot as we have in the conversation, once the public is attending the pop-up event tomorrow, you all can come with your grocery bags and we'll start accepting them one time. So we'll start to kickstart the process one time. So once you come in, bring your shopping bags, we'll accept it, because we want to start weaning people out of the use of that single-use shopping bag. So once you come to Morset tomorrow, you walk with your pile of grocery bags, we'll accept it. And so that's how we're going to continue the process.
A step in the right direction. We're speaking about the pop-up experience, but I also want you to give us some updates. I know you spoke in relation to the sargassum.
Yes.
And you know, many have had the challenge in terms of how are we transitioning this to be able to use it in some way, form, or fashion, even if we're not yet at the stage of mass production. Just give us some updates on that.
Well, we actually started the pilot project with including the sargassum into our vermicomposting operations, and this is why I can be able to have a sample of the product. We actually have the public, different members of the public, actually testing the product with planting leafy crops and stuff. In fact, the sargassum is here, and we have been tracking it since the beginning of this month, of April.
Yes.
And we realize that when you look at Lambo Beach, it is saturated with sargassum. And now we had to do an emergency plan in doing another sargassum cleanup the week of June 5th, World Environment Day. So that in fact, we have an upcoming project that's going to kickstart soon, the biogas, biomethane production project. I'm pleased to announce that the bioreactors have been shipped yesterday. So it's on its way they are on their way to Tobago, and they will be commissioned at the Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute, where we're going to be doing biogas production. And one is going to be at the MIC Tobago campus, where you're going to be doing the R&D to be producing cooking gas. So that is So one of the things that also coming as well, even the NGOs, it have a call is going to happen soon, where the UNDP Small Grants Program is going to do a call in collaboration with TRI for local NGOs to get involved in different projects focusing on sargassum removal. So we have different categories we can advise on what we need to do, because we need to have a good harvesting program. We need to have a depot site to be able to dispose, process, and reuse. So those are the key elements of sargassum management we have to implement, because early detection is very key to managing sargassum. You can't wait until it starts to smell and start to rot, then to do emergency response and end up damaging our beaches and our shorelines and stuff. So we have to always take things one step ahead. And because we are aiming to become zero waste by 2030, so is basically we have an assault on waste generated on the island.
All right. Question from one of our viewers. Will the reusable bags be of different sizes? And that was the ones that we just saw on screen, because they're asking about giving considerations to persons who may not be able to carry one large bag filled with heavy grocery items.
Sure.
What do you have at the moment, and where are you hoping for it to go?
Right. The ones that we have in stock at this time, which will be shared with the public, is the large ones, because those were actually designed and tested where even a 5-gallon bottle can fit in that without damaging. So the type of recycled plastics was used in producing those bags actually have enough strength to allow heavy groceries. The next set we're going to test the sizes that are a little smaller than that one. And so, because what we did first is based on reviews and data collected from different parts of Tobago, where they say that because a lot of people commute, they travel, they want the bags big enough so that they can be able to move enough groceries, so that instead of having a set of small bags where you have to be toting maybe 3 and 4 bags and stuff. So that is what we have given. We kickstarting that first, and then we're going to dung it a little bit so that we can cater for driving the motorists as well. So that is how we're going to take it from there.
Sean, I've also had the opportunity to be working with you through Rotary in relation to your connection with NGOs and so supporting. To the extent, excellent presentation that would have been done in Grenada recently at Rotary conference that would have taken place. I want to ask you, in terms of that call and reminder to NGOs and groups, as to how they can contribute to this recycling initiative, or even connect with you through the very same pop-up experience to lend the collective support here in Tobago.
Because right now we actually, the UNDP Small Grants Program, actually, in fact, that came to my desk last week, where they right now we have an active call for local NGOs to participate in any innovative projects. You'll have to probably reach out to us direct, where we can share that information with you guys, because the first workshop, virtual workshop, was last week, Wednesday of this week. It have another one coming up early next month. So that one, I wouldn't really like NGOs to really miss out on that, because actually the deadline for submitting your concept paper, I think, is at the end of May. So if you all have the opportunity where you all can be able to get that information now, where you can be able to receive some guidance and some directions in accessing, because it have a category for 5,000 US, it have another category for 10,000 US, and another category for 20,000 US. So that is concept development. The next one is innovation, and the third category is project implementation. So I'm suggesting that local, because we have been negotiating for the past couple of years and developed these kind of projects where funding from the UNDP can be specially allocated for Tobago NGOs. So let's take advantage of that.
Excellent. Thank you so much there, Sean Roberts of the Tobago Recycling Resource Initiative, joining us here on set this morning. And remember, folks, it's the pop-up experience getting started there at Moorset. We're really encouraging you to head on out. And the good thing about Sean, you can connect with him anywhere you see him, whether you see him in a work mode or not. He's always prepared to be able to provide the updates, to speak to you, to give you information, etc., as to how you can get involved in this very important initiative that continues to move us along and will certainly in the long run benefit and continue to benefit the island of Tobago and by extension all others. I can tell you for a fact who want to get what we have happening here from the standpoint of the Tobago Resource Initiative. All right, certainly viewers, we say thank you so much again, Ashon, for joining us here on set. And coming up in our next segment, we have got Minister Shelly-Ann Batiste, Vice Chairman of the Jesus Rally Committee, Jesus Rally Tobago 2023. We look forward to hearing those highlights in the next segment. We thank each and every one of you, those viewers that are joining us via TV, those joining us via radio, and those of you online this morning. Andra, Augustus, Chester in the mix, Terry Trinidad, good morning to you. To each and every one of you connecting with us online, we say thank you so much for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show, and to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Help! Fire service! Hello, fire service! Anybody in here? Fire service! Yeah, we're right here! We gotta get out! We're right here! Here, take him! Let's go!
Thank you for saving me. You're my hero.
Together, as we face the challenges during the new normal, always remember that fire safety begins with you.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice car get damaged bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard, I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Welcome to Limage Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacore, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
Jesus Rally Tobago is back. Rejoice, O land. On Saturday, May 6th, 10 a.m. Two massive trucks with high praise, prayer, and declaration will lead motorcades across Tobago. One truck leaves Roxborough and heads to Scotland.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. We're just at about 7:46 a.m. In this segment. Yes, viewers, this morning we are chatting Jesus Rally Tobago 2023. Yes, and if you're wondering, you say, oh God, I can't remember the last time I was able to be in a Jesus Rally. Certainly, we have on a set with us this morning to have the conversation, Chairman of the Jesus Rally Committee, Shelley-Ann Batiste. Good morning to you and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
Standing out in her green this morning. It's that kind of energy.
Yes, energy. We're bringing the energy. We're bringing the energy.
So
Good morning.
we're heading straight on in. Reminder
Yes.
of yours again for those who said there was a gap in between, and we're so happy that this is back. Tell us a little bit about from that historic perspective as we get started.
Okay, great. So Jesus Rally, just to give some historic background information, Jesus Rally would have started in 1998. And the focus of Jesus Rally is about rallying the churches, rallying the body of Christ. So it is not just a motorcade, but it's about calling the people together to declare the Lordship of Jesus Christ throughout the island of Tobago. So Jesus Rally takes place on Saturday the 6th of May, as the ad would have indicated. Saturday the 6th of May, and this year we are going taking a two-prong approach. So one leg starts at the Delaford Community Center, coming down from the east. The other starts at the parade ground of Dwight York Stadium, heading down to Crown Point, make the lap, cross the Buku, Plymouth, back to Scarborough. When the two rallies, the two sides of the rally culminate at the Esplanade, we anticipate about 3:30, 4 o'clock. Then we do a march around Scarborough twice. We gather at Gardenside Street where we close off.
All right, so it gets kick-started. Let me make sure that I understand as well. By the time I hear those two routes, I too am wondering. So that is Saturday the 6th of May. That is going to happen this year.
Yes.
The 10 a.m. start. Is it like those rallies that you start in Delaford and then some join in Dwight York, or they're both starting?
Both starting. So it's two legs simultaneously to ensure that we get coverage and we gather as many persons as possible. So let me explain what the Jesus Rally is. So we have two live music trucks. We have invited, and we want to thank those churches for coming together. We have worship teams from different churches. They will journey to a certain distance, strategic points. They stop and we offer prayer and declaration at specific areas. Simultaneously, we will also have hamper distribution at those points, because we're not only considering the spiritual man, but the physical man. Because, Julian, if you're hungry, you really can't really sing and praise God.
Correct, it can be a struggle.
Yes, it's going to be a struggle. So we, in addition to praise along the way, we have prayer along the way. We will stop at strategic points, as I said, and pray specifically. For example, the security of our island, the crime, the education, the health system. So we, in addition to praise, we have prayer and hamper distribution. So you see me in my nice green. We are uniformed because we want to portray that united front as we go along. So we have jerseys available, children's sizes and adults. We have wrong neck and the polos.
Right.
For children, $50 for the wrong neck, $60 for the polo, and we have polo for children. We also have the adult sizes. Wrong neck, $80, polo, dry fit, like what I have on here, or the ordinary cotton polo, $100. We also have bandanas, $20. We want to come out and declare the Lordship of Jesus Christ across the island. So we are making a call. We still have some t-shirts available. We also are providing transportation at a small cost for those who may not have their own vehicles. We are encouraging as many persons as possible. This is a free event. You're not paying to come. All you're paying for is your jersey. So as many vehicles as possible, you're hearing us today, feel free to join us. You don't have to belong to any particular denomination. This is about gathering the people of Tobago together. So if you need additional information in terms of how you can access the jerseys, you can call 354-8654. Let me give the number again, 354-8654. You can call or you can WhatsApp your request.
Any base where persons can connect, or you're encouraging persons just to call the number and then you will be directed accordingly?
Yes, because we have a spot in Scarborough and one in the east. So you can call that number and we will direct you accordingly.
All right, just remind persons of the number again.
That's 354-8654.
Tell us about the success of this event, you know, in years gone by. I like the fact that it usually caters to the wider family. So I know the Delia Jerry on the outside there already getting up with the whole family and the team to be at Jesus Rally. But this factor where you cater to the entire family coming out to spend the day. Tell us a little bit about that objective.
Yes, and we also have persons from Trinidad who have booked from the time we announced Jesus Rally. Persons from Trinidad have booked and they're on board. So we really are encouraging, listen, gather your family together. We want people to understand that there's an alternative. Tobago, you're hearing about shooting, you're hearing about this, you're hearing about that. It is time as a family. That's what Tobago is known for. As a family, we come together. You come out together. We have fun together. We praise and we worship together. We're going to stop for lunch. When the East comes, you're going to stop at the Mason Hall Recreation Grounds.
Right.
And on the western side, we're going to stop at the Buko Integrated Facility. So feel free to join us anywhere along the route, but ideally would prefer that you come together for the beginning at the Delaford Community Center or the Dwight York Stadium for us to start the rally together. We're asking persons to gather at 9 a.m. because 10 o'clock, we're shooting off.
All right, excellent. How long is this activity intended to, you anticipate it will last? It's
a full day. So get your vitamins in, strengthen up the legs, get some exercise, because especially when we get back to Scarborough and we do the march around Scarborough, it calls for a little bit of energy and vitality. So we propose from 10 till about 6 o'clock, a full day of activity, declaring, praying, releasing some blessings over our island because we need it.
Remind our viewers and listeners as well, I know it's common by the time after all that, and you still gather, there is still time to give praise and thanks where you get some music in the mix.
Yes.
One or two performers. Can persons look forward to that for 2023?
Yes. So it's not just about performance, it's about ministry. And we want to re-emphasize, it is not about performance because we do not want persons to feel, well, them could sing and I can't sing. It's about everybody's about inclusivity, understanding that every single one of us, we've been blessed with some talent, some skill, some ability. We have dancers. We have a place for every single person in Jesus Rally. So as we come back to close off, we have, yes, I can let it out of the bag. We have the In His Presence team that would have backed up Eben to do that close off for us at the close when we get back to Garden Side.
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Yes. So you know that persons can look forward, and you know it just reminds me recently being at the gospel night and being there just in time with Positive's performance. I think it's always one that speaks to the fact it's not just about the music, but it's also about the message that he seeks to bring forward. Really and truly, kudos and commendations indeed. So just remind persons about the contact numbers before we close and your open invitation to Tobago at large.
Yes. So Tobago, 354-8654. Let me say that again, 354-8654. You can call that number or WhatsApp for further information or to place your order for jerseys, as well as to make a request for transportation. We provide transportation from start to finish.
All right. Just to be clear, because there are some persons wondering, is it open to a limited grouping of persons based on churches or open to all? Please make it abundantly clear.
Open. Whosoever will, as the Bible says, whosoever will may come out in your numbers. Come out and let's support Jesus Rally. Let us declare the Lordship of Jesus in Tobago. Let us take back Tobago. Let's take it back.
And as we wrap, and I got another message coming in there, essential, as you're speaking to that, reminding us of the essence and foundation of Tobago. Do you think this is critical in taking us back to that point where we kind of put God first before everything else in the mix amidst all the challenges that we faced here and now?
Yeah, we can't reiterate that sufficiently. Listen, as I was reading on Facebook this morning, somebody was saying, you can't previously, talking about shooting and stuff was something not heard of in Tobago. Now it coming like what? Like rice? Come on. Yes. So we want to take back our land. We want to declare and push back those forces. We're not entertaining that in Tobago. And forever people say, well, what is the church doing? The church is doing what we can do, which is about praying. Many people trivialize prayer and our praise, but we understand the power and authority we have, so we are going to execute it.
All right.
Saturday, the 6th of May, 10 a.m.
Saturday, the 6th of May, 10 a.m., folks, starting at Delaford and at the Dwight York Stadium. So even if you're now log on and you didn't get all the details, 6th of May, 10 a.m., be there and ensure that you make contact. It's Jesus Rally 2023 happening here in Tobago. Thank you so much, Shelly Ann Batiste, Chairman for the Jesus Rally Committee, joining us here on set this morning at the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Viewers, we want to thank each and every one of you so much for the continued love and support. This has been the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Those of you connecting with us, I see the lineup and I know you're going to be at Jesus Rally. Deshelle, Zandra Baines out there in the mix, Miss Erla Hazel, Jenny Ali, Vern Joseph, Aina Anthony, and I know Vern has been involved for a number of years as well. Andra Jofield, looking out to see you there on May 6th. Each and every one of you connecting with us, we want to say thank you so much for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates Morning Show and for connecting with us here. At this point, viewers, we're saying bye-bye from the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We're heading on into Tobago Notes and then straight on over to GMT. And then we see you on Monday. Take care and bye-bye for now.
After over 6 decades of existence, the TWCU Credit Union has opened a branch in the sister isle Tobago. It was long in coming, but it has finally reached. This credit union was formed to accommodate and facilitate low-income families who needed a means of saving. Now, TWCU is expanding into Tobago. This milestone is being celebrated for bringing a 27th credit union to the island.
The establishment of this member-owned cooperative institution provided an opportunity for low-income members to save and obtain credit to meet their needs in an era when they were unable to have easy access to banks to meet financial needs.
For some time, due to the increase in membership and growth in status, there have been several requests from members. It is our hope that this new facility will serve as a catalyst to attract new members, particularly youth members. By the same token, it is an opportunity for members to invite relatives and friends to become members of the society. In addition, now is the time for inactive members to revive their membership status to be fully active.
Today, the fact that we are here within the first quarter of 2023 to open this branch is a very positive sign for the economy of Tobago at large. Tobago in and of itself has had a very long and beautiful and successful story with the credit union movement. Congratulations on this milestone. Congratulations on having this office as a forerunner to celebrating your 73rd year in business. That's quite a lot of years.
The TWCU Credit Union is located on the 2nd floor in the Port Mall in Scarborough.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Yeah. Hey.
updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source to current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region, with the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine. I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. Fire officers are feeling the heat in Tobago as they struggle to operate out of substandard facilities with inadequate equipment. President of the 2nd Division Fire Services Association, Leo Rampisoon, visited Tobago yesterday to get a first-hand look at the conditions under which officers operate. The Scarborough Fire Station is currently housed in the former Old Grange Police Station in Canby, and a cramped space lacking the necessary facilities for efficient operations. Meanwhile, due to a shortage of fire tenders and equipment, officers are forced to use their own personal vehicles and whatever equipment they can muster to serve the public in times of need. Meanwhile, Condor Airlines is expected to resume direct flights from Germany in the winter of 2023. The Tobago Tourism Agency Limited announced that Condor will be operating a weekly flight on Tuesdays between the Frankfurt Airport and the A&R Robinson International Airport, commencing on November 7, 2023 until April 9, 2024. All flights will be on board the new Airbus 330-900 and will be available for booking from May 1st, 2023. The executive director of TTAL, Alicia Edwards, stated that a resumption of this flight indicated that there's still confidence in Destination Tobago. And in some news of crime, the Tobago Assistant Commissioner of Police, Collis Hazel, gave the murderer of Daniel Thomas 48 hours to surrender to the police. Thomas was shot multiple times yesterday at a Signal Hill home. ACP Hazel said life would not be easy for the perpetrator if he did not turn himself in. According to the ACP, the incident was deeply troubling and called on Tobagonians to come forward with any information related to the incident. And that was your news in 90 seconds. A whole lot going on right now in Tobago, and of course the police, or ACP Hazel, given that very strong call, to the person responsible for the murder of Mr. Daniel Vincent to come forward. So otherwise the police is going to come down on him. So we look forward to seeing what energy that ACP Hazel is going to bring to the Tobago Police Force, and we are certainly supporting whatever effort he is making in making sure that crime is kept to the absolute minimum levels here on the island, and we can return to that level of safety and security. So yes. Now, turning to our discussions this morning, we are going to be speaking with Dr. Nathaniel Duke, who is the Chief Medical Officer of the hospital at the Roxborough Hospital. Good morning and welcome to you, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tobago. It's an honor to be back again.
Great. And so, we've got some fun things, some wonderful things happening at the Roxborough Hospital, especially when it comes to cataract surgeries. We recently got some new equipment.
Yes. So, the facility by itself was the recipient of some new equipment specifically for cataract surgery. So we will be reminded that September, October 2022, the Secretary of Health gave the TRHA a mandate to clear the backlog of cataract surgeries. And that mandate was specifically filtered to Roxborough, where we were asked to actually undertake that mandate. So what happened we did a massive call to action where we had a call-in center and a coordinating center which was established. And from that, we received over 1,000 patients calling in and asking for the service to be provided. It was a very, very dynamic logistical process for Team Roxborough because it was a young team and we had to embark in training of staff even before the service began. So the service line was subsequently divided into, you had the screening phase, the surgical phase, and the post-operative phase. And doing all of this in a pandemic where we had to make sure that everyone was COVID negative, and the team really had to rally around each other, and we were operating some very long hours. So we had the collaboration with the overseas ophthalmologists. They were coming out of Toronto, Canada, and some local ophthalmologists as well. And doing so, we were able to approximately do 30 cases per day. All right, so we were working from 7 in the morning to sometimes 11 at night. And at about 30 cases per day, so we were able to complete 580 cataract surgeries at Roxborough within a 3 months' time. Of that, when that exercise was finished and we dissected the data, we recognized that some individuals will require surgeries on their other eyes. So we are now in the phase where we are embarking upon second eye surgeries, as well as any other backlog that exists within the system, trying to clear it out. So the Executive Council has given the approval for 700 more surgeries to be done. And these new equipments that we have received are what we call the Rolls-Royce equipments of cataract surgery, of ophthalmology. So we were able to partner with Very Medical in getting the equipments to Tobago. They are here. And the good thing about these equipments is that one can have a training component. They are built to train. So you can have physicians who want to learn these techniques be trained on these equipments as well, with oversight from the experts. Yes.
So now, can you explain a little bit about, this new equipment and what is it about it that makes the surgery, to cataract surgeries, easier for the doctors to perform?
Right. So the new way of doing cataract surgery is called phacoemulsification. And what that basically means is ultrasound, high intensity ultrasound is via probes. It's inserted into the eye and it more or less breaks up the cataract. The cataract is that thick layer over the lens, which is formed for many reasons, many medical reasons, and causes the lens to be dense and light will not be able to pass through your lens. So what happens is with phacoemulsification surgery, the phaco machine, that's what it's called, when the ophthalmologist inserts a probe into the anterior segment or the front of the eye, that actually emulsifies or breaks up the cataract, and then it is just extracted by suction. All right. There's a lot of because you are dealing with very small microscopic spaces, there's a lot of, you can have a lot of error. So there's a lot of calculation that have to be done. It's a very fine technique that has to be refined. People go under extensive training for this. And also, there's some margin of error that one has to cater for. So these new equipments, they take into all that into consideration, the margin of error, the calculations. And these equipments will be able to do all of that background work, even while the surgeon is operating. So he no longer have to think about all of these things. Yes, you are looking at the pressures and the numbers that the instrument is giving you as a guide, but it has become a fully semi-automated process where the surgeon is now doing the procedure and the equipment is doing all of the calculations and putting all of these stop gaps in place and actually warning the surgeon, hey, we might have a problem, don't go forward. And the equipment will take into consideration the intensity of the ultrasound wave that is to be delivered to the eye based on the thickness of the cataract. So the surgeon no longer has to work hard to get that cataract off. All of that is done by the equipment, and he just have to make sure that he guides the probe appropriately. Also, with the microscope that we have acquired, this is one of the best microscopes that eye surgeons can use, produced by Olympus. So the optics in this microscope provides for high definition. So the surgeon will be able to see structures, and the clarity by which he'll be able to see the eye during the surgery is far greater than of all of the equipments that we have. So we have new precision equipments. We have equipments that take into consideration some level of artificial intelligence. We have equipments that will be able to do all of the background calculations and have all of the safeguards, top measures built in it, as well as we have the optical microscope, which is high definition, so that the surgeon will be able to, he knows where he's going and when he's going. And the good thing about this level of optics, we can, the image can be sent in real time anywhere in the world. So you can have another surgeon from anywhere in the world
to consult.
Yes. And also you can have a trainee surgeon on the other end of the microscope looking in and seeing how the procedure is done. So not much places throughout the Caribbean have this form of technology.
So in other words, we can open up our services for our Caribbean neighbors.
Well, during the presentation, the advisor to the Secretary for Health, he announced what he coined the Roxborough Eye Institute. And that is something that we have been thinking about. We have looked at how we can market what we are doing, not only for Tobago, not only for Trinidad and Tobago, but for the Caribbean. Well, I recently learned that it is very difficult to get top quality cataract surgery throughout the Caribbean. I recently learned about that. So with this form of technology, what we are saying is that we can have, we'll be delivering the service. But if we can aim for a higher level of existence, where you can now have a training component built in, as well as offer this the service for a fee to our Caribbean brothers and sisters. All right. So I think that we are onto something good in Roxborough, where once everything goes well, we can see that the Roxborough Eye Department or Department of Ophthalmology emerge and rebrand itself as an institute of higher learning as well. The good thing about having Professor Pons and his team out of Canada, that they are coming with a certain level of accreditation. And we're talking about Canadian and European accreditation. So we have that backings, and this is what they do on a regular basis. They do a lot of training all over the world. So we are trying to tap into this resource where we'll be able to, one, bring this level of expertise to the island, two, provide training for local physicians as well. Because if you are a local physician, Trinidad and Tobago, and you're ophthalmologist, and you need more experience in cataract surgery, where do you go? You have to fly to the US, the UK, or Canada and hope to get into one of their training programs. So this is where we are saying, you know what? With everything that we have, we can provide this level of training for the country, all right? Instead of you paying how much $1,000 US when you fly overseas to get this, we can give you the necessary training and provide you with the numbers too. Because I think you need to do 100 independent before you are signed off.
Yes.
So we have the numbers in Tobago. We have the numbers in country as well.
Approximately how many people in Tobago are affected by cataract?
One of the things about cataract is that it's a disease of as you age, most people will develop some form of cataract. And just because of our geographic location, excess ultraviolet light, then you have underlying comorbidities, diabetes, etc. They all result in the accelerated formation of cataract. I can tell you that when we did the numbers that were registered within the TRHA, we were looking at close to 500 in a backlog. All right. And then when we opened up the call to action, we got over 1,400 calls.
Wow.
Right, for this level of service. So there is a huge burden of cataract in Tobago. And if one was to do ophthalmic screening on the whole island, you would find even more. All right. So as the population ages, as chronic diseases become more prevalent, cataract will continue to be an issue. Yes.
So if people are out there and they are not yet in a system for cataract or just eye care, what can they do to be able to, have themselves in a position to access these services?
Right. So the TRHA offers full eye screening. We have an ophthalmic department at Signal Hill. And once they're identified as having a cataract of any sort, the ophthalmologist will then refer them on for cataract surgery. Or if you see your optician and your optician tells you, hey, you have cataract, you can also present yourself to have this level of evaluation be done. Not everyone who have cataract will need surgery immediately. Sometimes the cataract is just too small for surgical intervention. All right. So the patients are advised as to when it will be appropriate for surgical intervention and what they can do to slow the progression of the cataract. Right? So, I mean, ultimately, you really don't want to have people undergoing surgical intervention. That's a wish. But most of these patients eventually end up having cataract surgery and lens replacement. That's the other issue, cataract surgery and lens replacement. And in so screening of these patients, we are realizing the high incidence of glaucoma among patients who are coming for cataract. So we are looking at both cataract surgery and glaucoma intervention. And a lot of these patients require glaucoma surgery as well. So the equipments that we have are also capable of performing the glaucoma surgery. So the whole thinking behind the Roxborough Eye Institute, will be to provide what we call anterior segment surgery. So the eye is divided into the anterior segment and the posterior segment. And the anterior segment is what is being affected by cataract and glaucoma, really. So that is where we can do that necessary intervention. Well, you see,
so is there any other place in the country that offers all of these eye care services together in the public health system?
There are bits and pieces throughout the other RHA. I mean, all the RHAs have ophthalmic care. The volume of cataract surgeries that are being done within the public system nationally is low. That's why you have so many people going to the private sector.
Yes.
Right, at an astronomical cost to individuals. This amount of surgeries, 580 surgeries in less than 3 months, have not been done in any other RHA before. Right? So Tobago is definitely a champion with respect to how you can do approximately 30 surgeries per day. Right? So Roxborough have shown that it is not impossible, it is possible. Once you have a dedicated. The team and the nurses were absolutely amazing, and the ward attendants, you must give praise to them, where they would start at 7 in the morning, and as they progressed throughout, they became more efficient. And they would call me and say, Dr. Duke, 5:30, we are finished. And I would be like, how many cases you all ran off today? 28, 29. And they're finished by 5:30. Before, they would go up to 11. But then they became so efficient at it that by 5:30 they were closing down.
Wow.
Right? So we have a momentum among this, the department, and we like to keep the momentum going.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're seeing that development of ophthalmology care happening at Roxborough, and you know, I mean, that's definitely one of the things that you guys are considering, like expanding that, and you know, maybe being the first in the country and for the Caribbean as well. But we also saw earlier that, you know, there was some advancements made in terms of the hyperbaric chamber and the services that offer. You know, what are the updates? Are there any updates on how those services are coming along, especially when it comes to, you know, just the blood circulation aspect of care and that kind of thing?
Well, hyperbaric oxygen therapy has been along for a long time. Since in World War II, the U.S. Navy was using it extensively. And now it's adapted for medical use as well. In Tobago, we have the only hyperbaric chamber in the public healthcare system in Trinidad and Tobago. So we receive patients from throughout Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean. All right, patients flying from Barbados, etc. We even got patients all the way from Switzerland asking for our services. So the hyperbaric chamber is approximately 22 years old, that piece of equipment, and it is still functional. So it says something positive about the team and maintaining that piece of equipment. What we have recognized is, besides the treatment of the bends and the treatment of wounds, the hyperbaric oxygen therapy is indicated for approximately 14 medical illnesses.
Yes.
Right? Radiation burns, plastic surgery, flaps, skin flap not healing well, and even for athletes, these high-intensity athletes, they will put them in the hyperbaric chamber for appropriate recovery, for faster recovery as well. So in terms of where the advances that have been made in the hyperbaric at Roxborough, we have what's called a monoplace chamber. And a monoplace chamber just basically means you can only put one patient at a time. Due to the patient volume that we're receiving, and individuals are asking to access the chamber more and more, locally and regionally, we recognize that the monoplace chamber is no longer sufficient for the needs of the service. So we are looking at the purchasing of a multi-place chamber, which is a walk-in chamber. The chamber that we have now, we have to basically lift you in, or you have to be ambulatory. You must be able to have the upper body strength to go in. So it's a challenge for the elderly, especially.
And of course, it's a service that the elderly needs to be able to access.
All right. So we have looked at the purchasing of a walk-in chamber, which can accommodate 8 patients at a time.
Now, would this be one of the first in the Caribbean, or?
It will be the only one in the Caribbean and Latin America.
Wow.
All right. We have teamed up, well, during the exploratory phase, and this was supported highly by the Division of Health. And may I say that this is a project which is going to be led by the Division of Health. The secretary was very enthusiastic, and the secretary really put the power of her office behind it. And I would like to thank Miss Dr. Faith B. Israel for really championing this, and the Executive Council, because they gave the approval. The Executive Council gave the approval for this project to go ahead. And coincidentally, yesterday we were in a technical meeting where we were thinking now how to pull the technical aspects together. A supplier has already been engaged for the chamber out of the United States. And this supplier is coming with the power of the World Hyperbaric Association. Wow. All right, so we have Dr. Tyler Saxon. He's the president, and he has been the one who will be giving the technical input with respect to the chamber logistics from the US to here. There's a lot of players involved in this, because we're talking about bringing something which deals with a lot of pressures and forces, and it has to be certified by the US Navy. So all of that has to come into place. And then when this chamber arrives, we have to be ready logistically on the ground to receive it. There's a lot of civil and mechanical engineering. So the Tobago House of Assembly and the Division of Health has engaged EID COT to be the project managers to look at this. We also have to look at China Railway, since they were the ones who designed the facility. How would that now tap into the current oxygen generating system of the hospital? So there's a lot of technical work that has to take place. But the good thing is that it's going to happen.
Yes.
And with this multi-place chamber, we'll be able to provide care for more patients, one, and it's coming with a teaching component. When we decided to train and certify our staff members in hyperbaric oxygen intervention, we had to engage people from Texas as a tremendous course to come down and provide a certification. So we have trained and certified hyperbaric technicians, trained and certified hyperbaric nurses, all right, and trained and certified hyperbaric physicians in Tobago. We also were able to have DAN, Divers Association Network accreditation. So Tobago is listed as part of the hyperbaric facilities network across the world. So divers now, when they want to dive, they will go to the DAN site and they'll say, oh, Tobago has a chamber, so I'm more comforted if I go there and dive. We are also looking at, we have the accreditation of the Undersea World, all right, Hyperbaric Oxygen or Hyperbaric Medicine Association as well. And the US Navy paid us a visit because when they are doing their special ops, they want to make sure that a chamber is available. So they paid us a visit and they were quite satisfied with what they have seen. So now we want to look at it from a different level. We want to have a more advanced chamber, a larger chamber that will be able to provide service to more patients, and also will be able to provide where you will be comforted, because now you can have the medical staff in the chamber with you. Because this current chamber that we have, if you undergo a medical emergency while you're in the chamber, it will take us 3 minutes to get the medical staff in, because we have to now put the staff in a lock, close the lock, pressurize, equalize the pressure, then get into you. All right? With this chamber, the medical staff can go in, you are seated on a chair, and everyone will be there. So your medical intervention will be much more rapid. All right? So that's the direction in which we are going. And also, we want to offer a training component, because we have so many certified people. If one wishes to become certified in hyperbaric, one has to fly again, the US, UK, or Canada. So now we want to be able to have a teaching module to deliver this level of training here, because we have all the certified people in Tobago that can deliver this level of expert training to anyone.
All right.
At a fee.
Now, we've got a lot more to get into when it comes to the Roxborough Hospital with Dr. Duke here, because, of course, you've seen, I mean, well, you've heard, I should say, you heard, you know, all has been happening so far, and it's just in just 2 areas. So we're going to see, we're going to hear a bit more about what's happening in Roxborough when we come back after this break.
As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the sky.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Sign up, save, and win every day with Digicel Plus. You could win a tablet or a TV every single day. Just sign up for Digicel Plus and like yourself. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store to sign up now. Promotion ends May 19th and is approved by the NLCB.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Well, viewers, we are continuing our discussions with Dr. Natanya due to the developments of the Roxborough Hospital. Some good things are happening when it comes to cataract services and surgeries, as well as, developments where they are they're looking to increase the services offered in terms of hyperbaric services and that sort of thing. Now, the Roxborough Hospital, Roxborough is supposed to be a hospital offering 24-hour services. However, there has been some challenges in getting to that point. So, Dr. Duke, what can you tell us about, where we are right now on the pathway to becoming a 24-hour hospital?
Okay, so the reality on the ground is that when January the 6th or the 4th, when I assumed the position of medical chief of staff at the facility, I rapidly recognized that there were a lot of infrastructural work that had to be done before the clinical areas can be occupied. And one had to pull together the full technical team to be able to execute a lot of these work. It has been a year and more, all right? And all of the technical work has been completed, and the inpatient areas have been outfitted and are ready to receive patients. What is the keep back? It is strictly a question of human resource now. We are still awaiting the human resource process to activate the clinical services. So there's a new board which is on, and the new board is mandated to make this happen. As medical chief of staff, what I've been advocating for and trying to champion for the people of Tobago is, since we have activated the emergency room services on September the 9th, and we are operating from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., we have seen a rapid increase in the numbers of patients coming into the emergency room with all sorts of illnesses. And as the year turned around, 2023, the volume has quadrupled. So we have moved from January 2022, where you were seeing like 200 to 300 patients in the emergency room. Now we are seeing over 800 per month in the emergency room at Roxborough. And this is operating at from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Oh, well, we haven't had any complaints so far, so
Right.
it seems as though the services are being delivered at a high enough standard.
We do try our best to ensure that the staff morale is kept high. We do try our best to ensure that the junior physicians are always around a senior physician. And because of, I've had to be very innovative in designing this model. One of the things that I've impressed to the staff is that patient care is at Roxborough will be senior driven. All right. I was a junior once and I understand what it means to be a junior. And as you ascend up in your medical knowledge and what we call the totem pole, as you go up, it is your responsibility to ensure that all of the patients are given senior level oversight. And I always ensure that the seniors are on the ground. So when you go to Roxborough, you will always see someone senior in the emergency room. So it's not only the emergency room, which is the face, because we spend a lot of time ensuring that the face of the institution is always pleasant. You have, from the time you get in, you are greeted by someone. Even if it's a cleaner, it's a water tech, someone greets you and shows you where to go. We have ensured that outside in the waiting area, there's always a physician there in a room. So for those who are coming just for prescriptions refill or something fast, that you do not have to wait hours for that. And those who require higher level care, they go inside.
Yes.
All right. When you go inside, you will see a lot of staff, but there are always two seniors there. The recruitment process did not afford us to have the specialists that we needed. So I've had the pediatrician, I have the pediatricians seeing all the kids. So the children who come to the emergency room in Roxborough are seen by pediatric specialists. The females with gynecological or obstetric issues are seen by this specialist obstetrician. And all the other patients are seen by the internist, all right? And if you need surgical intervention, you will then be transferred over to Signal Hill. Our outpatient specialist services were started where we have dialysis,
yes,
we have nephrology, we have medicine outpatient, we have pediatric outpatient, and we have obstetrics and gynecology outpatient. We have seen, because of the numbers, there is a need for urology. A lot of men are coming to Roxborough from the east with a lot of prostate problems. So I have made a special a request to the board for a urologist to be employed for the Tobago East. The medical imaging department, X-ray, ultrasound, CAT scans, all right? And we are doing our best to ensure, to now make sure that a CT radiographer, CAT scan radiographer, is stationed at Roxborough every day. And we have one of the most advanced CAT scans in the country, 64 slice. We can do a lot of work with that. It is underutilized. And just yesterday, the board members which are overseeing this granted the appropriate approval. So we're going to see CT services, CAT scan services at Roxborough being more predominant. But one of the challenges that we are facing clinically, from the clinical point of view, nursing and physician, is the recruitment process. And we do not have oversight over the recruitment process. The recruitment process has been very tight. with respect to the facility. And it has been something that has been haunting myself as well as the nursing management of Roxborough to ensure that we get the people on board. Because you can't do a 24-hour service with a skeleton staff. All right? It is not safe. We have started minor gynecologic procedures at Roxborough because we have a very advanced operating theater. So we decided to use it. But it's only now being used just for minor gynecologic surgeries because we were seeing so many women who needed help.
Yes.
All right. So we decided that we are going to intervene and help these women. All right. But our major challenge is the recruitment process. The recruitment process somehow is a little bit too slow. And it's a year plus into this.
And who is responsible for that recruitment process?
Well, ultimately, the recruitment of any officer or any staff within the organization is that of the Human Resource Department and the Office of the CEO. And now you have a board, and the board has what's called the Human Resource Committee, which provides oversight over all of this, right? So the board has recently came on, they are getting their foot wet, they are understanding the processes. And I'm sure that this board, which is very dynamic, and they are actually taking a charge that they are going to, they are beginning to correlate the information to push the recruitment process, all right? The facility as well has some design challenges. And you have to accept that. You have to accept that, hey, this is what it is. And you have to work with what you have. Because what is your goal ultimately? I think that sometimes we get ourselves tied up in bureaucracy and all of these. People try to throw all sorts of policies that they read on the table. But you have to, what is the reason for you being here? And that is to provide a service to the people. If in your capacity, right, you are putting up obstacles for such, that is not right, especially to the people of Tobago East. So one has to go back to our core. What is your core function as a healthcare provider or a healthcare administrative individual? Your core function is to provide, all right, the best optimal clinical service to those in which you are charged to take care of. All right, that is what you're there for. And that has been my drive all the time, and that has been my focus. All right. So yes, there are infrastructural challenges, there are those challenges with space, etc. But looking outside of that, if you continue to look at it like then you'll be putting yourself in a box mentally where you will get nothing done. You have to look outside of that and look at what is your wider objective. Right? Your objective is to provide care for these people. And that is what we are here for. So I will continue to push along, and I will continue to advocate that, one, the recruitment process be advanced to the point where we'll be able to soon announce the opening. And it is recruitment of clinicians and nurses, right? And also it is the infrastructural issues can be taken care of because we have engineers, we have all these bright people.
Yes.
So we don't really have to be reinventing the wheel, right? We just have to understand what is our core directive and execute it. Yeah.
And so when you encounter these problems, what do they tell you?
The excuses that are given, I basically say these are not excuses. Because how I was trained, you do not come to your boss. I was trained in the US. You cannot go to a meeting with the hospital trust with a bunch of excuses in your basket. That is not something you can do as a senior physician. you have to come to the table with how are you going to execute this directive. And I have seen quite a bit of my colleagues have been told by some of my mentors that thank you for your input, but it seems like you don't want to be a member of this team anymore. And that is one thing I loved about the United States, because they will have a very nice way of telling you goodbye. Right? We have to come out of this zone where it cannot be done. And there's no explanation why it cannot be done.
Because at the end of the day, it is people on the ground, Tobagonians, your own family, your own friends, that are ultimately affected.
Yes. And I always say, you know, for me, I was born in the Tobago East, and my parents migrated to the West. So I'm a Goodwood man, all right? The people of the East have been asking for a hospital for more than half a century.
Yes, they have.
All right. And now we are in a position where we have to deliver this to them. It's not if and or but. We have to deliver this service to the people of Tobago East, where I will not accept any excuse why it cannot be done. All right. And as a member of executive management, I will be the first to say that it has to be done. And let us, you know, all the other technical stuff, one can work around it. That's why we have bright minds. You can work around it. But you have to give care to those you are mandated to give care to. All right? That's what we are there for. So I await the HR process. And once the HR process has been completed, then myself and Team Roxborough, I always call them Team Roxborough, we are going to rapidly accelerate.
And we're already seeing that Roxborough is becoming this premier place for healthcare in Tobago. And of course, this is, I mean, a large part to do with your leadership in making it all come together. Now, we spoke earlier also about the cataract services and the hyperbaric chamber and the developments that are to come there. What other specialized services are you envisioning for the Roxborough Hospital?
Sometimes I don't want to toot my horn, but if you want to be futuristic in your thinking, you see, you have, in a small hospital, you have to be very creative.
Yes.
Because small hospitals, and this is one of the things, small hospitals have the highest efficiencies. Large hospitals don't. And this is something I learned when I lived in Florida and interacted with multiple administrators. And one of the, it was very fascinating to see one of the most profitable hospitals in terms of efficiency was a 50-bed hospital that was based in Hialeah. And I was absolutely amazed at this. So small hospitals have a different level of operations. And so what I would like to see at Roxborough, one, a fully implemented electronic medical record system, where you will come to the facility and your records, it will no longer be stored in a cabinet in the back.
And it would be the first for the country.
I would like to see a fully implemented electronic medical record system, which would be a game changer. That's one. Two, in terms of service delivery, one will have to look at other services. A typical example, I've already alluded to urology, right? But I was talking to my team and I asked that same question. What service Tobago needs? And the pediatrician looked at me and said, Dr. Duke, there's a desperate need for pediatric cardiology on this island. And when we started to drill down, and you recognize that every child who has a cardiac issue have to be sent to Trinidad for diagnosis and follow-up, and their parents have to go with them. So they arrive on the airport or in Port of Spain on the boat, make their way to Montauk, and then after that, sometimes they have to overnight and then return back. and then they have to go again for follow-up. So we looked at why not bring the pediatric cardiologist to Tobago. And we had a conversation with the pediatric cardiologist, and he said, great idea. I'm all for it. This will save Tobago a lot of money, but you can't quantify the time of the parents.
Yes.
All right, and the disadvantage of the parents. You can't quantify that. So, in the initial phases of discussion, where Tobago can have a pediatric cardiology service, right? That's one. So that's futuristic. The Roxborough Eye Institute as well, if once that pulls off, that would be very futuristic for Tobago. And also, in our inpatient services, especially on the surgical side, there's a Tobagonian who has been advocating to give service to Tobago, especially in the field of minimal invasive surgery. So we do have an operating theater that can accommodate that. So he's a...
That's like laparoscopic
yes.
surgery and so on.
So laparoscopic surgery.
Laparoscopic, yes.
As well as other minimal invasive surgery. And we are in preliminary discussion because he's very keen and eager to provide this service. Also endoscopic gastroenterology services. Since we have the surgical team, which is to be recruited, but one of the things that we want to ensure is that we have endoscopes for both adults, and this is a kicker here, children.
Children.
All right, because the pediatric endoscopy isn't really done. All right, so but Tobago has a pediatric gastroenterologist whose skills are underutilized. So one of the negotiating platforms that I'm going to use in the acquisition of the endoscopes is to try and convince the supplier to give us one or two of the pediatric endoscopes as part of the deal. And it's just a matter of how you can negotiate. And once you can get these things on the ground, then you can bill out these services. And this is going to really help in the decreasing the transfer burden from Tobago to Trinidad. So these are the futuristic things that we are looking forward to. But right now, our main goal is to activate the inpatient services.
Yes.
And then from that, you can build out all the other supplemental services around it. Yes.
And then what's it been like, just getting the team together and making sure that, there is that synergy within the staff at the hospital?
That was the easy part. People were very enthusiastic to come and work at Roxborough. That to me was the easy part, because these were individuals they asked to transfer to Roxborough. So I was like, okay, no problem. And when they came, they really did a fantastic job. I mean, humans are humans. But one of the things that I realized is that quite a bit of the staff are from the Tobago East. So what I told them is, I said, if you treat your people bad, then when you go home back to your village, they're going to cuss you. They're going to cuss you, all right? So that's where we are seeing the whole Tanti, grandma, come, I'll help you, we're not going to refuse anybody. People hugging on the corridor, people giving each other high five, they're always smiling because there's that connection, right? And so that's one of the major unique things that is taking place up there, and I encourage it, right? If someone comes and they don't have an appointment, I'll say, slot them in, we'll see them. I'm not really going to reject you, even if it's just to have a conversation. We'll have that conversation with you. All right.
And then how important is that sort of an approach in terms of delivering a high level of care to our citizens?
Well, you have to be patient-centered, all right? And in Tobago, we have to understand the word of what it means to be Tobago-centric, all right? Because you have to be patient-centered and Tobago-centric to treat with your own people. Because no one is going to come here and treat them good for you. You know, you have to treat them good. So my philosophy and the philosophy of the nursing management team at Roxborough is that we go beyond the call of duty for your patients. Sometimes you feel like if there's no gratitude, all right, but when we all took our oath, all right, the oath never said that you're going to be given gratitude. All right, the oath said, you know, your oath indicated that you are the voice of the voiceless. And that is what we continue to advocate as much as we can. All right, so, and then provide that level of mentorship to the younger ones coming up.
Certainly. I mean, and it's such, good news that we hear it coming out of the Roxborough Hospital despite the challenges, because I don't think that people really understand, what were the challenges that were faced when you took up the position to lead the staff at the hospital and to make sure that, you can fulfill the mandate that hospital was supposed to provide. It was not easy.
And it wasn't easy to try to convince individuals who are not from the Tobago East. They don't understand some of the issues that the people of Tobago East face. Because one thing I always say, try taking an ambulance from Charlottesville to Signal Hill. I'm riding in the back of that ambulance as a sick person, all right? During jazz, we open up the emergency room. In fact, every time we open up the emergency room on weekends, we are inundated with patients. So during jazz, the emergency room was opened up. And from 5 p.m. till 1:30, it was constant jammings in Roxborough. And there was a patient who came in unresponsive, and the family member said, possible seizures, they don't know. And she had vomit all over. And she came from one of the nearby villages. And I would tell you, if that ambulance was to take that patient to Signal Hill, she would not have made it. All right, stopping into Roxborough, and we were able to stabilize her, clear her airway, all right, and give her the care that she needed to be able so that she can be transferred to Signal Hill for further care. If that ambulance had to go direct, the conversation would have been different. All right. So that is the level of intervention that we are there to provide, and that we should be supported 100% in the execution of this mandate. This is not our mandate. This is the mandate of the Tobago House of Assembly, who are mandated by the people of the Tobago East to provide this service. So we are just the executioners of the will of the people.
All right. I think that's a perfect way to leave out the update that we're having here about the Roxborough Hospital. Thank you so much, Dr. Duke, for all that you're doing. Thank you for being here and for being able to share all the developments that are happening.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, viewers, and that's how we're going to leave it this morning. So please have a safe and wonderful weekend, and we will see you again on Monday.
I say, thanks for favor to wake up and hear